Grand Rising family, Grand Rising. Today is Friday. I hope you guys are having a good day. To everybody that's in here hanging out from Discord, I know that we have a premiere popping off in the next 50 minutes. I'm going to go until I don't feel like going anymore. So you guys feel free to stay, go to the premiere. I don't really, whatever you guys want to do. Today we are reading starting at chapter 4 of my book, No One's Coming to Save You. For those of you who didn't know, that's me on the cover. That was when I was in shape. And if you open the book completely flat like this, that's also me on the back with a razor to my wrist. There is a whole story being told in this photo. If you look at the counter, there's pills on there. This is a low point. And that, good versus evil going on. Duality. All right, chapter 4, the title of Father. Before diving into the core of this chapter, I need to address something fundamental. We as men are failing in one of the most critical roles we hold, being present, engaged, and effective fathers. The statistics I'm about to share are stark and sobering, but they drive home an undeniable truth. Fathers, or the lack of them, profoundly impact the lives of children. I read this in the other book, You Are Not Broken. I'm going to read it anyways, just so that it's here for those of you who didn't listen to the other book. Also forgot to mention that there will be no edits, so all of my blunders and stutters are going to be here. I apologize for them in advance. This failure isn't entirely on us, but we must take ownership of it. Yes, the court system often feels stacked against us. Many of us face financial burdens that we can't shoulder, or we lack the emotional tools to fight for what's right. Some of us give up, defeated by the self-doubt or a belief that we don't matter as much as we do. We tell ourselves these justifications, wrapping them in logic that feels true in the moment, but the ones paying the highest price for our absence or passivity are our children. The numbers don't lie. They show us the consequences of stepping away or being forced out of this critical role. They highlight how essential fathers are, or at the very least, positive male role models. They are to the development of safety, and the future of our children. This isn't about assigning blame or pointing fingers. It's about understanding the weight of our responsibility and the difference we can make when we show up, fight, and refuse to give up. Fathers play an irreplaceable role in the structure of families and the well-being of children. Yet in today's society, the conversation around their importance is often overshadowed by the statistics surrounding fatherlessness in America. The statistics surrounding fatherlessness in America are stark and sobering, revealing the critical impact a father has on shaping the future of children, families, and communities. The rise of single fatherhood. The number of single fathers in the United States has nearly doubled over the past few decades, growing from 1.7 million in 1990 to 3.3 million in 2020, according to the NIH. Despite this growth, single father households still represent a small fraction compared to the approximately 15.09 million children living with single mothers. This discrepancy is significant, as the presence or absence of a father has far-reaching implications for children. Research shows that fatherless homes disproportionately contribute to some of society's most pressing challenges. Understanding these dynamics is key to addressing the broader issues of poverty, crime, education, and mental health. The impact of fatherlessness. The consequences of growing up in a fatherless home extend across multiple aspects of a child's life. Data compiled from fixedfamilycourts.com reveals 63% of youth suicides, 90% of homeless and runaway children, 85% of children with behavioral disorders, 71% of high school dropouts, 75% of adolescents in substance abuse centers, 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions, and 85% of youths in prison grew up without a father. These numbers demonstrate the direct connection between fatherlessness and adverse outcomes, underscoring the vital role fathers play in providing stability, discipline, and emotional support. Comparing single father and single mother households. When comparing single father households to single mother households, the disparities are equally revealing. Children raised by single fathers are statistically less likely to experience severe negative outcomes, often associated with fatherless households. For example, children in single mother households are 9 times more likely to drop out of high school and 10 times more likely to abuse drugs compared to those raised by single fathers. They are 5 times more likely to commit suicide and 20 times more likely to end up in prison. While both single-parent scenarios come with its challenges, single fathers tend to fare better in certain key areas, including financial stability. According to gingerbread.org, 25% of single fathers report not being concerned about their ability to pay for home necessities in the coming year, a significantly higher percentage than single mothers. Moreover, single fathers are more likely to have been married before becoming single parents and are less likely to experience mental health challenges compared to single mothers. The Mayo Clinic reports that women are twice as likely to suffer from depression and anxiety, conditions that can lead to further challenges in managing household and parental responsibilities. I was going to just quickly read by this and keep going. I feel like it would be doing a disservice as we are reading about depression and anxiety. The studies that have been released over the last year on plant medicine and what it does to both of those things is fucking astonishing, and we are still prescribing SSRIs. Drives me nuts. All right. Why fathers matter. The role of a father is multifaceted, extending far beyond providing financial support. Fathers are critical for structure and discipline. I can't go back. I have to touch on something else soon. Drive me nuts. It's said in here that women are more likely to have financial issues. And at one point in time, there was a pay gap. That's not a thing anymore. If you factor in the time worked, women tend to make more on average than men do in terms of starting pay. In most major organizations now, I wonder how much of that financial burden comes down to vindictive behavior. And I'll let you guys just think on that. Number one, structure and discipline. Fathers often play a key role in establishing boundaries and instilling discipline, creating an environment where children feel secure and understand consequences. 2, emotional stability. Fathers provide emotional support that helps children develop self-esteem and resilience. Children in father-present homes are less likely to exhibit behavioral problems or engage in risky activities. Positive role models. Fathers set examples for their children, shaping how boys perceive manhood and how girls form expectations of male behavior. This modeling significantly impacts future relationships and life choices. Fatherlessness doesn't just affect individual families, it has profound implications for society as a whole. Single mother households are responsible for 70% of teen pregnancies, and the bulk of filicide and child killing cases occur in these homes. Moreover, children from single mother households are 14 times more likely to commit rape, 32 times more likely to be a runaway. These outcomes highlight the social consequences of father absence, which often lead to cycles of poverty, crime, and mental health struggles that can span generations. The data paints a clear picture. The presence of a father significantly reduces the likelihood of adverse outcomes in a child's life, yet systemic and cultural factors often undermine the role of fathers. The growing population of single fathers often offers a potential solution, but these men face unique challenges. They are more likely to be younger. 18% of single fathers are under 30 compared to 8% of married fathers, and less educated, with 24% living at or below the poverty line. These challenges demand targeted support systems for single fathers, including parenting resources, community programs, and legal reforms. Recognizing the importance of fathers is not about diminishing the role of mothers, but rather about addressing the critical gap in family dynamics that has far-reaching consequences. There's something that I saw. I was going to go back to it. Now I can't remember where it was at. Oh well. Fathers are essential. We are not optional, nor can we be replaced, no matter how hard a woman tries. And many do try valiantly. The father's role is unique and irreplaceable. That's not to diminish the efforts of single mothers, who often shoulder immense burdens, but rather highlight that fathers bring something distinct and vital to a child's development. It's also worth noting that studies show that men are more likely to bring another cohabitant into the home, meaning we're often not doing this alone. There's frequently another woman stepping in to help support the family. This isn't about pride or proving we can do it all ourselves. It's about recognizing that it takes a village. We must use every resource at our disposal to start breaking cycles of generational trauma, lean on the support available, build stronger communities, and commit to doing better, not just for ourselves, but for our children in the future. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into this. Those were the stats that were in the other book, just so you guys are aware. And I skimmed over a little bit. I didn't read everything out exactly because I'm trying to get through this. I've been sitting on this chapter for a few days now, unsure of where to start. I wanted to dive into the importance of being present in the home, not just physically there, but truly present. Yet That didn't feel quite right. So instead, let's begin with what it means to be a father who is capable of emotional regulation, setting boundaries, and showing compassion and empathy to his children. I grew up as the kid who was told to suck it up, rub some dirt on it, or you want to cry, I'll give you something to cry about. Those words just weren't threats, they were promises, and they were always followed through. I was taught that men don't cry, that we're supposed to be tough, that life is hard, so we just have to accept it. That mindset is absolute bullshit. Sure, it did its job. It made me callous, prepared me for a world where people didn't care about your struggles. It taught me not to complain or open up because at the end of the day, no one would listen. It made me numb to compliments, disconnected from attempts at connection, and fed a disdain for small talk. It hardened me. It made me cold to a degree. I learned how to shut down everything emotional. In my world, emotions were a liability, something to be discarded. Disassociation became second nature. I could sit through conversations, appearing engaged while my mind wandered off, only to tune in enough to parrot back what was said, if pressed. It was a survival, but it wasn't healthy. It's no surprise that I faced suicidal thoughts alone. I believed wholeheartedly that my emotions were my problem and mine alone. When I thought about ending it, I didn't even consider leaving a note or trying to make things easier for others. I didn't want to be a burden, even in death. As I write this book about what it means to be a man, husband, and father, I can tell you this. It's been a long, painful road to get here, undoing negativity and false lessons I was taught about manhood. Undoing the negativity and false lessons I was taught about manhood took years. This chapter is particularly hard for me to write because I have to confront my failures, especially as a father. I look back on my relationship with my biological daughter and I see all the ways that I fell short. Despite every effort, we never truly connected. We don't know each other, and it's one of the only regrets I carry in life. But I believe in redemption. My bonus kids are my second chance. With them, I can strive to get it right. I won't be the kind of father I want to be the kind of father that they can look up to, the kind who feels like a superhero to his kids. The lessons I've learned weren't easy, but they're worth sharing. My hope is that by putting these words out there, I can save you from some of my mistakes. Being a father is hard, but it's worth every ounce of effort to do it with love, empathy, and presence. Where does this start? It starts with listening. Do you remember the first time your heart was broken? Or the first time someone took something from you? Maybe when you were bullied or when you felt isolated, defenseless, and helpless? Do you remember going to your parents in the middle of those feelings, hoping for comfort or guidance? How did that play out? Did they fight your battles for you, yell at you, tell you to stop crying? Maybe they said, suck it up, or don't start a fight, but you better end it. Or maybe even if you don't fight them, you'll have to fight me. That last one might sound extreme, but some parents really say things like that. Sometimes people we go to for safety end up being more harm or doing more harm than the original situation ever could. I have a handful of vivid memories as a kid when I needed to hear that everything was going to be okay. Instead, I got the opposite. Whether I was dismissed, punished, the outcome was always the same. I felt like no one cared, no one listened, and no one was coming to save me. Now, as a parent, I see things differently. I realize that my kids have no idea how to navigate life yet. If they're coming to me, it's because they need me. Beneath whatever situation they're dealing with, it's always an emotion. Feeling safe, for example, isn't just circumstance. It's an emotional state of mind. And the last thing my kids need is for me to shut down, shut them out, or ignore what they're trying to tell me. Picture this. Your child is being bullied and comes to you crying. What do they want? Do they want you to go beat up their bully? Maybe. But most likely they just want the bullying to stop so that they can feel safe again. Now imagine you respond with anger at them. You get mad because they're crying, because they're coming to you, because they haven't toughened up. What do you think that does to your relationship? How do you think that affects their ability to come to you later in life when the stakes are even higher? I get it. As parents, we want our kids to be tough. We don't want them to go through life getting hurt, bullied, or taken advantage of. And yes, sometimes tough love is necessary, but it can't be the only approach. Let's talk about something else that complicates things: emotional manipulation. Kids will try it. They'll cry, lie, and pull whatever strings they can to get their way because they're bad not because they're bad kids, but because they don't understand the bigger picture or the consequences of their actions. This is where you step in. Don't let them manipulate you. Don't dismiss them either. If your child is crying, having a meltdown, or coming to you to vent, listen to them. Validate their feelings and their experiences. Try to remember what it felt like to be a kid, small and helpless, relying on the people around you for protection and understanding. Be the protection, the father, the superhero that you needed when you were their age. As men, one of the things we covet the most is respect. The problem is many of us fail to show enough to others to truly earn it. Our actions fall short. We overestimate ourselves, demand respect, and believe we deserve it, whether we've earned it or not. This respect dilemma often stems from insecurity from moments when our shortcomings have been exposed. or even from unresolved childhood trauma. Here's the truth. Men who are secure and who they are don't crave the respect of others. I'm going to read that again. Here's the truth. Men who are secure and who they are don't crave the respect of others. They don't let their egos dictate their behavior, forcing them into a false bravado or convincing themselves that they're better than everyone else. Instead, they recognize their strengths and their weaknesses, accept them, and get to work on what they can improve. This is what acceptance and humility looks like. And here's the kicker. Your children see it all. They'll notice the difference between real integrity and hollow words. What you doing, hotness?
Coming inside to work.
Yeah. What you working on?
Stuff for the women's retreat.
Still?
Yeah.
You're such a badass. You want to come say hello to everybody?
I'm coming to say hello to you. You're just
Yeah?
I'm a bonus for them. Hello, people.
There you go. You guys were graced by the presence of a goddess.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm going to crack a little jokey joke.
I'm going to start back where I was. Your children see it all. They'll notice the difference between real integrity and hollow words. If your bravado is just hot air, they'll figure it out. If you preach about how a man is only good as his words, but fail to live by it, they'll see that too. They'll learn that challenging you hurts your ego and that your life isn't built on a solid foundation. Your kids are always watching. As a father, you've got work to do. You need to master effective communication, emotional maturity, and self-regulation. These aren't just skills to help you function better. They're tools to lead by example. Your children already love you. They see you as their protector against the outside world, but here's the question. Are you their protector in the home? Your faults will be exposed to your kids eventually. There's no avoiding it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's an opportunity. By admitting your mistakes and showing a willingness to grow, you teach your children valuable lessons. That no one is perfect, that change is possible, that mistakes don't define a person, they're part of being human. This openness fosters empathy and compassion. It shows your children that judging others for their mistakes is unfair, and that understanding and growth are what matter most. There's a kind of honor and integrity in admitting when you're wrong. This is the behavior that discourages bullying and promotes listening and understanding instead of reactions. Most importantly, it shows your kids that you are honest with them. They may not always like the hard lessons, but they'll respect you for them. Because here's the thing, your children will follow your lead. Attitude reflects leadership. So be the hero that they believe you to be. One last thing about respect. Just because you're a man who doesn't chase after the respect of others doesn't mean you should let malicious intent go unchecked. Too often, passivity is mistaken for weakness or incapability. The key is to pick your battles. Don't waste your energy demanding respect. It's not worth it. Instead, strive to be the kind of person who naturally commands respect when they walk into a room. True respect isn't forced, it's earned. The way that we treat our wives sets the tone for our children's future relationships. If you're the kind of man who loses control, sees red, punches holes in the wall, throws things, or talks down to your partner, your sons will grow up believing that's how men act. Worse, your daughters may come to you your daughters may come to think that that's the kind of treatment that they should accept. You're not just hurting your partner in those moments, you're setting your children up for a lifetime of hardships. I'm going to pause for a second because I want to touch on something. There was a moment in the last 6 months, somewhere around there, at two separate occasions where each one of our children asked, and not near each other, but differently, why don't you and Pops fight to Peaches? And they asked how come we don't scream and yell at each other. And, they've always asked questions like, why do you guys hug and kiss so much? And why do you dance in the kitchen? But they never asked that. And, we had to probe a little bit and learn that they were seeing that in other places. And I was able to understand how much my growth has impacted the children in terms of what a man is supposed to look like. And I got to see on the same thing from Peaches about how a woman is supposed to like lead her home and like handle all of that and like do the being presence with the kids and like the non-combative communication and like I don't know. There was just so much involved in that reading this chapter back, that's all I can think of was that we don't scream and yell. Peaches and I don't raise our voices at each other. Like we don't get nasty. We don't say out of the side of the neck hurtful shit to each other.
I don't mean to interrupt. I was walking towards the kids' room and found a shoe.
There's two of them underneath of there. Check by the back of it, unless I put it in her room already. Other side, by the door.
Nope.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. She don't fit her no more.
Oh.
I've been looking for it.
That's funny. All right, we're going to get back to the book because I don't remember what I was talking about.
You were talking about us not fighting in front of the kids and how impactful it's been.
Yeah, I think I got my point across, though. But if you're the kind of man who never raises his voice, who treats his wife with love, admiration, and gratitude, your children will learn a very different lesson. You're showing them what love truly looks like. You're teaching your sons how to honor and respect their future partners, and you're setting the standard for what kind of love your daughters will seek out. That said, being a loving partner doesn't mean letting someone abuse or manipulate you. It's just as important to model healthy boundaries as it is to model kindness and respect. Our kids have asked, why are you always touching? Forgot to put this in the book. Why do you kiss so much? Why are you slow dancing in the kitchen? Why do you hug so much? Pops, why do you sing to mommy? My answer is always because I love her and that she makes me happy. You know what they've never asked? Why did you hit mommy? Why are you yelling all the time? And why do you throw things? Fuck. This is intentional. We live with purpose and we get the outcomes we strive for. It's really that simple. We don't fight in front of the kids. Honestly, we don't fight much at all. Peaches and I talk. Sometimes those talks are hard, but unless it's something the kids shouldn't hear, we have those conversations in front of them. They get to see us, two people that they look up to most, engaging in healthy debates, finding solutions, owning our mistakes, apologizing, and moving forward. There's no lingering tension, no extended silences. We repair immediately, and we choose to have a good day afterwards. We tell the kids every morning before school, you get to choose the kind of day you have. You get to choose the kind of life that you want to live. Life will sometimes throw things at you and you can't control it, but your response in those moments will define your character. Those choices will shape your future and every decision that you make afterwards. Love with intent, live with intent, teach with intent. The results will follow. I want to circle back to boundaries for a moment before moving on to work. Your children begin learning about boundaries long before they even understand the word. They watch how you set, enforce, and respect boundaries in your own life, and that becomes their blueprint. If you let others walk all over you, if you constantly people please, your kids will pick up on it. They may start to manipulate you, disregard your authority, and ultimately lose respect for you as a strong, capable figure in their lives. Setting boundaries is more than just saying no. It's about respecting yourself enough to know that what you will and won't allow. Enforcing those boundaries with love, not anger, shows your children that you value yourself and that they should too. By modeling this behavior, you're equipping your kids with an invaluable tool for life. Teaching them to understand, set, and maintain boundaries will set them up for success in their relationships, careers, and personal growth. It's a skill that many people never develop, but it's one of the most important lessons you can give them. I'm gonna read one more and then I'm gonna pause. Boundaries aren't barriers. They're a foundation for respect, both for yourself and from others. When I got sober, I was sober for a decade. I didn't drink. I didn't do drugs. Like I was the epitome of sobriety for a decade. And because my boundaries were so stern, a lot of the times, I would probably say 99% of the time when somebody would offer me something and I said no, there was not a repetitive push. I believe that when you instill those boundaries in your children and they say no with confidence, it's not a peer pressure thing. If they can say no, they can explain their position and they can explain it effectively. People don't pry anymore. I only say 99% because I had one boss towards the end of my sobriety that really pushed for me to drink with him because he wanted me to drink with him for whatever reason. He was not a good dude, right? Hindsight, like at the time I thought he was my friend. Hindsight, he clearly fucking wasn't. But that was a lapse of judgment in me, right? Anyways, fatherhood is a subject so vast and profound that you could fill entire libraries with it. But let me be clear, I'm not trying to write a definitive book on it. What I'm putting down here is simply thoughts weighing on my heart, the things that I needed to get out of my head onto paper. That said, there are some incredible books that I recommend if you're looking to grow as a father, as a man. These resources have shaped my perspective and given me tools to approach fatherhood with intention. And there's a few books. I'll just really quickly name them off. They're on our recommended reading list. Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child by John Gottman. Raising Men by Eric Davis. The Masculinity Manifesto by Ryan Michler. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. This book's not actually about fatherhood specifically, but the lessons absolutely apply. The Intentional Father by John Tyson. The Courage to be Disliked. I am not going to try to say that name. Ikiro Kishimi. Ikiro. Choice Theory by William Glasser. Each of these books offers unique insights into parenting, personal growth, and leadership. They've helped me navigate fatherhood with greater clarity, purpose, and humility. Whether you're a father striving to become a better man, these works are great tools for the journey. Last thing I want to get into with fatherhood is working and work ethic. As men, one of our primary objectives is to provide. The way that you approach work or avoid it teaches your kids everything they need to know about being an adult. Ask yourself, are you the type of man who makes excuses for why you don't have the life you want? Do you blame others, complain about how unfair the world is? Let me be blunt. That is some of the weakest, most pathetic behavior a man can exhibit, and I say that full chest. When I typed that paragraph, I was cursing like you wouldn't believe because I was infuriated while I was writing it, because that hit our home on a personal level right around the time that I was writing this book. And let me tell you. Okay, or are you the man that gets up every day tired and sore, doing what needs to be done because your family depends on you, because those little eyes are watching, those little souls are counting on you to provide stability, a roof over their heads, transportation, food, water, and a clean, safe environment for them to grow in? Do your kids see you calling off of work because you don't feel like it? Do they see you grumbling about a honey-do list? Do they hear you blaming the world for your struggles, making excuses for why you don't have what you want? Or do they see a man who says, I'm working for it. I don't have it yet, but I will. Life is hard, son, but if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen. Do they remember you working 2 jobs during the holidays? Maybe they didn't see you as much. Maybe they'll never forget you putting their toys together. But they'll never forget you putting their toys together Christmas morning. Will they look back and see a man who did whatever it took to give them a life that was more than just okay? Here's the hard truth. If you're barely scraping by, if you have no savings, no dependable transportation, no way to fix it when it breaks, or if you're stuck in a job with no real skill or long-term prospects, you need to reevaluate your life. If an emergency would devastate your family and you consistently rely on the charity of others just to get by, do not have kids. It's not fair to them. Don't try to justify it with, but I'll love them unconditionally. Love is not enough to feed them. It's not enough to keep the lights on. And let's be honest, most men who say that don't even love themselves enough to push through the discomfort and thrive. Whoo! Fuck. I'm going to read that again. Don't try to justify it with, but I'll love them enough unconditionally. Love is not enough to feed them. It's not enough to keep the lights on. And let's be honest, most men who say that do not love themselves enough to push through the discomfort and thrive. Your children deserve a father who sets examples, one who sacrifices, who works relentlessly to build a life worth living. They deserve better, period. Made me sweaty, guys. All right, chapter 5, how do you define success? What does success look like to you? Can you define it right now with 0 prompts? Most people define success in different ways. For some, it's having money, a paying job, a career. It might be owning a big house, driving a new car, or even finally buying their dream car. In parentheses, this one's not all it's cracked up to be. Others see success as being married, being a good parent, or putting their kids through college. Some say it's all of the above. For me, success is simple. It's waking up in the morning without the weight of despair, without wanting to end it all. It's going to bed at night knowing I own the day, that my time wasn't squandered. Success is seeing my kids learn new things, hearing them laugh, and watching them revel in carefree joy of childhood. At the end of the day, when my wife lays her head on my chest and says, this is my favorite part of the day, or this is what I look forward to most, I know that I've succeeded. Didn't expect that to get to me. Whether we talk, watch TV, or share moments of intimacy, these quiet times together solidify what matters to me. Even if she falls asleep on my chest, when she wakes up to roll over, I get a kiss and I love you. I never go to bed without that connection. That's love. It's the cornerstone of my life. If God were to punch my ticket in the middle of the night, there would be no question that in my wife's heart that she was loved. My kids would know that I love them deeply and that I carry and will carry with them the values that I work so hard to instill. And I believe they will be the kind of adults I hope they become. I take comfort in knowing that life would go on. We have enough people in our corner that my wife would be cared for, my kids would be secure, the podcast would continue, Peaches would still have financial freedom, and my legacy would be one of love and purpose. This, to me, is success. We've done a lot in the last year, guys. We've done a lot. We have multiple retreats. We did Costa Rica. Like 2025 has been a fucking whirlwind, and we're not done yet. We have, a couples retreat or a women's retreat that we're doing next weekend. We have another couples retreat in December, which still has a room available. I have a men's retreat in March. We have Greece and Bali next year in May. We're having a mod retreat in November. We have a private thing that we're doing in October. We're going to Utah at the end of September. We are affecting the world around us. We are changing lives. We are doing everything that we can to leave a footprint so fucking large that our tribe can stand inside of it and start walking their own paths so that other people can follow. And I can't even begin to explain to you guys how meaningful my life is now and how much gratitude I have that I'm able to wake up and do this every day for a living. Like, this is one of the most humbling and fulfilling things that I've ever done in my life. So thank you. One last aspect of my success is freedom. Financial freedom isn't about hoarding wealth or chasing material possessions, though I do like my toys. It's about having the ability to live life on your own terms. Broke things happen to broke people, and I refuse to let life's curveballs derail us. If my engine blew up, a flat tire stranded us, the transmission failed, or even if our house burned down, a hurricane hit, or we lost a business or two, we'd pick up and keep moving. By the end of the day, no matter what bed we laid down in, the night would end the same way as above, together with love, with peace that comes from knowing that we're building a life we cherish. Make no mistake, our bedtime setup isn't habitual. It's something that we work towards and look forward to. Don't allow the things that you love in life to simply become habit. Having money isn't a goal. Money is a tool, one that allows you to create the life that you want to live. Whether that means being a nomad in a van, working odd jobs to sustain a dream, or living more traditionally, financial freedom gives you choices, but the key is still earning, still building the life that fulfills you. Success isn't about chasing a dollar. It's about living your dream and finding fulfillment, creating memories, and going to bed at night satisfied, knowing that you gave your all to the things and people that matter most. That to me is true success. So how do you define success? Take a minute to answer that. Write it down, not digitally, physically. I'm going to have leave a page blank so that you can write it in this book. I actually didn't leave the page blank. I didn't number the book either. So for you guys who buy this, there's no fucking numbers in the book. There's 2 pages that actually have numbers on them. I have no idea why I did that or how that happened on the upload, but whatever. Back to the book. This is what I think about every time I think about what defines success. It's a reminder I carry with me daily, etched into my thoughts. There was a time in my life when I woke up every morning pissed off that I hadn't died in my sleep. I didn't want to exist. I wasn't in a place where I felt bad enough to take my own life. Fear of hell had a huge part in that. And so did the fear of failing, the attempt, somehow making my already miserable life even worse. I gotta be honest, in those 2 scenarios, the fear of failing and making my life even worse was greater than the fear of hell and me ultimately unaliving myself. Looking back now, I see it for what it was, cowardice. But you know what? That's the best time to be a coward because at least it kept me alive. Yet the life I was living, if you could even call it that, was barely a life at all. I was broken, unmotivated, a failure of a male who had no ambition, no drive, and let my depression and hopelessness dictate my every move. The people around me didn't get a whole person. They got a shadow, a shell of someone who had given up. So many people are stuck in that cycle. You hear them say things like, I'm going to die anyways, or I didn't ask to be born, or life isn't fair. These aren't just words, they're excuses. Excuses to justify the fact that they've given up. And I truly believe they have. This kind of mindset is a self-fulfilling prophecy. All that negativity is being spoken into existence. It locks you in a prison of your own making. What's worse, the people around them likely do the same thing, creating an echo chamber of misery and defeat. That kind of environment is suffocating, and escaping it is no small feat. But when someone does manage to break free, When someone does manage to break free, those same negative people often turn on them. They go from being accepting or indifferent to outright resentful. Why? Because you did something that they are choosing not to. You found a reason to keep going, to believe in yourself. You made a choice, and that terrifies them. Your relationship with others is a reflection of how you see yourself. If you treat yourself poorly, then you will also unconsciously seek out and tolerate others who treat you poorly. The truth is, no one is coming to save you. If you're stuck in this endless cycle of despair, you have to ask yourself one question: what are you going to do about it? And if your answer is something like, what can I do? Then you haven't been paying attention. You aren't listening. You aren't learning or applying anything. You've wasted your money, and you're wasting your time, and maybe even someone else's. It has been 30 hours since I finished the last chapter. I had no idea how I was going to approach the topic of success. My only goal for you, for this chapter, was to make you put in an honest thought about how you define the word, what it looks like to you. Over the past 30 hours, I've been reflecting deeply on this. Over the last 30 hours, someone I know killed themselves. When I got the call, I wasn't shocked, not even close. In fact, my first thought was, I'm surprised it took this long. Let that sink in. A young man, a human being, ended his life, and my immediate reaction wasn't sorrow or grief. It wasn't, I'm sorry for your loss, or even, damn, I'm going to miss him. It was, I'm surprised it hadn't happened sooner. I wasn't close to him. We hadn't spoke in nearly a decade. He wasn't a friend, just someone I knew. And if I'm being honest, I made a conscious choice to keep him out of my life. I didn't integrate him into my social circles or my world because I knew deep down that he would poison the well. His mindset, his choices, his entire energy, none of it aligned with the life that I was trying to build. That might sound harsh, but sometimes survival requires hard decisions. I've learned that we can't save everyone no matter how much we want to. People have to want to save themselves first. And until they do, the only thing that we can do is focus on our own growth and protect our own peace. Before moving forward, I want to touch on something important. I'll start with a religious perspective and then reframe it for those who don't hold any faith. From a religious standpoint, there are countless moments in the Bible where the power of words is undeniable. He spoke it and it was. He spoke it and it was done. God created life itself through his word. If we are made in God's image, and I believe we are, then we carry a fragment of that creative power within us. Our words have weight. They shape reality for better or for worse. This is why you need to be careful with your thoughts. Your thoughts eventually become your words. Your words will drive your actions. Your actions will dictate your future. Now, for those of you without faith, here's another way to look at it. The universe doesn't care about you. It's indifferent to your struggles, your dreams, your fears. You were created. You exist. And because of that, life will throw obstacles your way. It doesn't matter if you think it's fair or not. What matters is what you do next. You have two choices to overcome or quit. That's it. But here's the thing. Overcoming those obstacles isn't just about the immediate victory. Every time you push through, you grow, you learn, you become more skilled at handling hard things. And what once seemed impossible becomes easier. The cycle isn't random. The more you succeed, the more capable you become of tackling bigger challenges. It's like a muscle. Resistance makes you stronger. And if you believe in yourself enough to start taking even the smallest steps, the momentum will build. It's almost as if the universe steps aside and lets you pass. This also builds confidence. Celebrate your small victories, take in the win, and keep moving. I'm going to pause real quick because I want to touch on the religion aspect of things in speech. It's called spelling. When you write things down for a reason. When we speak, we are casting spells into the universe. If you don't believe in God, you probably believe in that. And if you don't believe in anything and you are 100% atheist and you believe that there's nothing greater and this is just life, then you believe that there's fucking vibrations. and you believe in physics and quantum physics and all of that speaks to the vibrations within us. Our words are vibrations. Music affects our body on a cellular level. All of the things that you put out into the universe has intent and energy behind it. Your words fucking matter. You guys downplay that shit. I didn't get it. I really didn't fucking get it until our first Aya ceremony. And as we've evolved into who we are recently, I am very cautious about the way that I speak. I'm still cussing a lot, but I find myself trying to find wording a lot differently now than I did before, especially when speaking of me. Back to the book. In my own life, every time I've started taking the necessary steps toward a goal, no matter how small, they've added up. Things don't get done because I make them happen. Things get done because I make them happen. I don't sit around waiting for someone to save me. I'm not looking for a handout, and I don't need people to step in. I don't wait for perfect conditions or the stars to align. I just start moving. The bottom line is this: you have the power to shape your life. Whether you believe that power comes from God, the universe, or within yourself, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you use it. So speak carefully, think carefully, act deliberately, and start moving because no one else is going to do it for you. Stop dreaming, start doing. Grab life by the throat and make it submit to your will. I want to share a few quotes that hit me hard, ones that remind me to get up and fight for what I want and keep moving forward. They touched on the essence of life, purpose, and action. These words aren't just inspirations, they're reminders of the truth about how fleeting life can be and the importance of living intentionally. It's not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. This one cuts deep. Death isn't the enemy, it's inevitable. No one gets out of this alive. What should scare us is the idea of coasting through life without ever truly living. Too many people are stuck neutral, caught in fear, doubt, or apathy. The tragedy isn't dying, but it's never actually living. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how, by Nietzsche. When you have a reason, a purpose that drives you, it changes everything. Hardships don't disappear, but they become manageable. A strong why fuels resilience. A strong why fuels resilience. Keeping you anchored no matter how stormy life gets. Without it, even the smallest challenges feel insurmountable. And then the last one is you are what you do, not what you say you'll do, by Carl Jung. This one stings, but it's the truth. Talk is cheap, actions over words. Intentions, promises, plans, they're meaningless without action. Who you are isn't defined by your dreams, wants, or what you hope to achieve. It's defined by what you do every day. Your actions are your identity, so make them count. Oh, I have another one. The tragedy of life is not that it ends so soon, but that we wait so long to begin it, by W.M. Lewis. Life's greatest loss isn't in how short it is. It's in how much time we waste waiting for the right moment. There will never be a right time, only a right now. Say that again. There will never be a right time, only a right now. Too often we tell ourselves we'll start later, once the conditions are too perfect, once we feel ready, but guess what? That day never comes unless you make it come. So stop waiting and start living. I'm going to pause again and give you guys a little bit of a story after I get a drink. When we decided to start this podcast, Peaches and I were blowing up on TikTok, hitting that, 200,000 subscriber mark or follower mark on TikTok. Each of us did. And she was making a TikTok one day and I walked through her TikTok and people were like, oh my God, you guys are together. And they freaked out. And then we went live and only had fucking 100 people or something in there. And during that live stream, so many people were like, you guys should start a podcast. And we went live again, got more followers, and that thing kept coming up. And we went to Naples to do some photo shoots at a garden down there. They have a really beautiful botanical garden where water lilies are just fucking the tits. And you can take the fat bumblebee photos. So good. On the way to Naples, we were having a discussion about where we wanted to go with what we were doing at the time. And what we wanted to do was coaching. And we had a 45-minute conversation about coaching. And then we got in the conversation about the podcast. And when we got done doing the photo shoot and drove back, we continued the conversation about the podcast. I had sold all of my camera equipment, all but our main cameras, for money to help out tattoo artists that were hurt by Hurricane Ian. And and to make sure that we were on top of things. I sold literally almost everything that I owned, did camera wise, and bought all the shit, got it back in the house, set up, did our first podcast. We had no structure. We didn't like sit down and try to plan things out. We asked people to email in. We read the emails. We were us. We did the thing. All of that was we had the conversation, decided that we were going to do it. That was the conversation, not how, not what we needed, just that we were going to do it. When I got home, I ordered what I knew I needed to buy, a mixer, microphones, whatever. Got my computer set up in here, made this room that we're currently sitting in, the room where we record in, and within 2 days of everything arriving, I had everything set up, OBS working, the mixer. I figured out all the tech. We sat down and did our first episode. It was December 17th. During the time that we recorded our first episode and I got everything set up, like arrived, I bought our domains. I bought our fucking fictitious name. I did all of the things that I knew that I needed to do to make a successful business. This was not okay, here's a list of 100 things that I need to get done. These were things that I thought of in the moment. And if I can just achieve this one thing, that's one less thing that I have to do moving forward. And every time I achieved something, I was like, fuck yeah, I did this thing. Hey babe, we have this. Next step, next step, next step. And we were doing this as we were going. We weren't waiting until everything was perfect, until we had the perfect recording room, or until things were just, fucking flawless. We had the agreement that we were going to do the podcast, and then we just fucking went step by step to do things. You guys wait, and you try to wait until you have formulated enough of a thing to do it. It's not going to work. When I opened my first tattoo shop, where it was like solely tattoo piercing, because I had a failed piercing studio before where I was just a piercer, just the piercer there. When I decided I wanted to own my own tattoo studio and I was going to venture out on my own, I was still tattooing. And over the course of 1 year, I bought everything that I needed for my tattoo shop. I didn't have a name. I didn't have a location. I just knew that I wanted to do it. And I knew that I was going to have to buy all the equipment, whether I did it a year from now or 2 years from now or 10 years from now. So every time I had extra money, I bought chairs or tattoo flash or an autoclave or whatever it was that I needed to buy, so that I knew that by the time I was ready to start looking for a unit, all of that shit was taken care of. And that's how I did it. And when I had everything that I knew that I needed, I started looking for a unit. I found a unit the day that I went out looking, signed the lease the next morning, and we were open within 3 weeks. It all comes down to just doing the things that you need to do to get you to where you want to go. If you want to do a marathon, you have to get the fuck up and start moving. You can't do it from your couch. All right, back to the book. These quotes don't just inspire me, they hold me accountable. They remind me that time is precious, that purpose gives life and meaning, and that action is everything. Each one challenges me to step up, to quit waiting, and to start moving forward towards the life I want. What are you waiting for? If these words resonate with you, don't just nod along and agree. Do something right now, because life isn't going to wait for you to decide to begin. For many of you reading this, the hardest part is knowing where to start. And that's okay. Where you start doesn't matter nearly as much as the fact that you fucking start. I didn't say the F word there. That was intentional. Taking the first step, no matter how small, is the key to building momentum and changing your life. By the time this book is released, I'm skipping that part because we decided to not do that. I'm going to read it anyways, and then maybe I'll touch on that. It says, by the time this book is released, To Be Focused coaching and mentoring program will be live. If you truly need guidance or support, head over to the whatever. We stopped that. The goals didn't align there. The vision didn't align. Mike and Katie are doing their own thing with Force of Focus. As far as I know, they're very successful doing their shit. Love that for them. Peaches is doing mentorship with women. I am doing mentorship with men, but we're doing it on our own terms, without other people being involved in a way that we see fit. Next chapter says, we also offer men's and women's groups through our Patreon community, where you can connect with others who are on the same journey. If you don't have, so that you don't have to do this alone. Visit patreon.com/tobebetter to learn more. The tools and resources are there. The choice to use them is yours. I had planned to wrap this chapter up with those thought-provoking quotes, but the more I write, the more I feel I need to say. Let me ask you this. Do you know what your core values are? what your non-negotiables are. If you haven't figured that out yet, don't worry. There's a chapter later dedicated to that. Do you know what your direction your life is moving in? More importantly, is that direction aligned with the life that you want to live, or is it keeping you exactly where you are right now? Let's take it a step further. What does your life currently look like? Are you working a dead-end job? Do you have any savings, or are you barely scraping by? How does your family really feel about you? Do you feel fulfilled, or are you just going through the motions? Here's another question, and it's a big one. How much of your life is consumed by escapism? Take a hard look. Are you spending hours playing video games, drinking, using drugs, reading, or endlessly scrolling through social media or YouTube? Check your screen time on your phone. Now add up all the other screens in your life. How much of that time is used to move you closer towards your goals? How much of it is spent working towards your vision of success? And how much of it is just helping you get through the day? You can change that. Let's figure out how to make your day more productive. Let's design a day where you start building the life that you want and end it feeling like you owned it. I have a 60-day challenge for you. This is for anyone who's serious about breaking out of their current cycle and taking control of their life. Yes, it's going to require effort. Yes, you'll need to adjust your schedule, like getting up earlier, which means going to bed earlier. But if you commit to this for 60 days, you'll see change. Your morning routine. Wake up early. Figure out the time that works for you, but give yourself at least an extra hour. Drink a bottle of water. Hydration is key to kickstarting your body. Get moving. Do some kind of physical activity. It doesn't have to be a full gym session, but start simple. Go for a 2-mile walk every morning. Better yet, invite your partner or your spouse to join you. Use this time to connect. If you're single, put on an audiobook or a podcast that challenges your thinking. Shower and eat some protein. Whether it's a full meal or just a quick protein shake, fuel your body. Meditate 10 to 15 minutes to mentally visualize your day. Focus on how you want it to go and how you want it to end. Journal. Forget the Dear Diary crap. That's right. No wrong way to do this. Just write. Get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper. What's been bothering you? What are your wins and losses? What do you need to communicate to your family or team? Organize your thoughts and put them in front of you. Set your goals. Write down 5 things that you must accomplish today. This is important. Take a photo of your list so that you can refer to it if you don't carry your journal with you. And at the end of the day, check those tasks off and celebrate your wins. If you struggled with any of those tasks, revisit them the next day. Journal about why. Be honest with yourself. Were you procrastinating, distracted, lacking focus? Self-awareness is a superpower, and it starts with being your own biggest advocate. While you're running your 60-day challenge, I highly recommend reading Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. This book offers powerful insights, and one of the most valuable tools is the time audit. If you commit to doing it, it will completely shift your perspective on how you use your time. We do this 1 quarter every year in my men's group, the time audit. It's done over a 3-month span, and it's more than just the time audit, but we really run through, like right now, the September is the end of this quarter. And what we're doing now in September is trying to figure out where we save time and how we can implement that time into our life, whether it be building our business better, reconnecting with our loved ones, having more time with our children, taking vacations, et cetera, et cetera. And we do this every year for a reason, because we fall back into routines. We get caught up in running a business where life gets hectic and you find yourself working sometimes until midnight or getting up at 4 a.m. so that you have 2 hours of quiet time before everyone else gets up to research on doing things and doing all of that shit. So the time audits, they matter. I do them often, and be honest about it. And while you're at it, do a friend audit too. You'd be surprised what you find when you friend audits. For 1 week, write down what you're doing every 15 minutes of the day. Yes, every 15 minutes. Be brutally honest with yourself. Write it all down. Scrolling on your phone, working, eating, procrastinating, zoning out, track everything. At the end of the week, take a hard look at the patterns. This is your time audit, and it's going to reveal where your time is slipping away and what you need to change. I won't sugarcoat it. This exercise is going to sting. You're going to probably feel called out by your own data, and it'll be a huge slap in the face. But at this point, awareness is the first step to improvement. And the discomfort of seeing your wasted time can be the wake-up call you need. I warned you, it's not easy, but if you're serious about reclaiming your time and taking control of your life, this exercise will be a game changer. Be honest, then make the adjustments necessary to align your time with your goals. Success doesn't happen by accident. It starts with you building a team. It starts with you. Building a team is great, but before others will follow you, you have to lead yourself. Add value to your own life first. Become the type of person that others want in their circle. Be the kind of person who inspires, who motivates, and who leads by example. Live with intent and integrity. If you're ready to change your life, start now, start today. You got this. Do you have a vision board? Ever heard of one? A vision board is a powerful tool to keep your goals and desired outcomes front and center. It can take many forms: a photo collage on your phone, a desktop wallpaper on your computer, a printout on your fridge, or my personal favorite, a big ass corkboard hanging on the wall. Here's how it works. Find images that represent your goals and a life that you want to create. Pin those images where you'll see them every single day. Visibility is key. It's a constant reminder of what you're working toward. Arrange your vision board with intention. Start by placing easiest, smallest goals at the top and the most prominent spots, and work your way down to the biggest, hardest, biggest goal. As you achieve your goals, celebrate those wins, removing them, marking them as completed, or reshuffling the board, and focus on the next target. Your vision board can be a 1 year, 3 year, or even 5 year plan. Anything beyond 5 years is that's stretching it too much, because too much can change in that time. What seems vital today might not matter in a few years. Well-organized vision boards allow you to adapt as your goals evolve. Doing this, along with putting in the work, creates a visual representation of your progress. It's not just about dreaming. It's about turning those dreams into tangible, measurable results. You can even leave your completed goals on the board and mark them as done to remind yourself of how far you've come. If you're interested in a deeper dive into how to create and use a vision board, check out a video I made for the men's group. I've made it public on YouTube. Your vision board isn't a decoration. It's a daily accountability tool. Start building yours and keep your goals in focus. In the introduction to this book, I said perception is reality. Perception is how we regard, understand, and interpret the world around us, a mental impression that we create. The way you view the world matters deeply. The meaning you assign to the tasks, challenges, and daily grind of life will dictate how you choose to respond to them. If you can change perception, you can change your reality. Let me leave you with this final thought. As I wrap this up, I hate negativity. I can't stand a defeatist mindset, and what's worse is when people make the conscious choice day after day to wallow in self-pity. Here's the truth. You are not a victim of the world around you. You are a victim of yourself and the decisions that you make every single day. Life is hard. It always has been, and it always will be, but it doesn't mean that you have to collapse under its weight. The world doesn't feel bad for you. It doesn't care about your excuses or complaints. The people in your life, the ones who genuinely care about you, might listen for a while, but eventually they will tire of hearing you cry about your problems without doing anything to fix them. Over time, they will begin to resent you. That resentment will grow until one day you find yourself isolated, bitter, and completely alone. Negativity is a cesspool, a toxic sludge that drags people down and keeps them stuck. Don't swim in it. Refuse to let that mindset infect you. You have the power to change your circumstances, but it starts with how you choose to view them. Your perception is your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. Choose wisely. Change how you see the world, and you'll change what's possible in your life. Still got people watching. It means you guys didn't go to the premiere. I fuck with it. I'm glad you guys are hanging out. Chapter 6. So what are you going to do about it? What you gonna do about it? The first half of this book has been a lot of introspection. I faced my own demons head on, called out my shortcomings, and confronted my past behaviors without holding back. I've also taken a hard look at the people in my life, drawing on their strengths and weaknesses. Not to cast blame, but to make a point, set an example, or to illustrate a difference between right and wrong. All of that was intentional. It was meant to bring you here to this moment of reflection. I truly hope that the first half of this book resonated with you, that something I said made you pause, think, or even challenge your perspective. Honestly, I hope it pushed you enough to feel uncomfortable. Maybe it even triggered you to the point where you had to step away from the book for a while. If it did, that's not a bad thing. It means I hit a nerve. It means you have work to do. My prayer is that it inspired something deeper within you, a desire to grow, to do more, to become more than what you currently are. Because here's the truth, growth isn't easy. It's messy. Sometimes it drags you along kicking and screaming before something finally clicks. And I hope that for you, something clicked. I hope the discomfort that you feel in your current situation burns just enough to make you crave change. I hope it drives you to the point where you're ready to, not just willing, but truly ready to take that first step to start transforming your life. So let me ask you, what are you going to do about it? Throughout this book and on the podcast, I've said over and over again that no one's coming to save you. This life that you're living, it's yours. The results you're experiencing right now are the direct outcomes of the choices you've made and the ones that you continue to make every day. But here's the good news. You can rewrite your story. You can rewrite the ending. You have the ability to change you can write the ending. You have the ability to change your life, but no one can make that choice for you. It's yours alone to make. In the last chapter, I introduced the 60-day challenge, a time audit, and the idea of creating a vision board. Those tools aren't just arbitrary suggestions. They are fundamental steps. They're a starting point. That 60-day challenge isn't about just going through the motions or checking off boxes. It's about building habits, creating new routines, and experiencing firsthand what a disciplined, intentional life feels like. It's about proving to yourself what's possible when you stop coasting and start showing up with purpose. This book isn't about motivation. It's not some fleeting pep talk or a locker room speech designed to help you win a single game. No, this is about something much deeper. My goal isn't to get you hyped up temporarily, but to present the truth in a way that makes you realize that the only thing holding you back in life is you. It all boils down to the choices that you make, how you handle adversity, how you communicate with others, how you show up for yourself every single day. It's all on you. As we dive into the second half of this book, I want your focus to shift. Think about today in the future, not the past. The past is done. It happened. It's behind you. Let it go. You were abused. Someone called you stupid, fat, ugly, or told you that you weren't good enough. You were picked last, dumped, discarded, or written off. So what? Me too. It happened. But now I'm asking you, what's next? What do you want out of life? What does success look like for you? And here's the tougher question. In the last 6 months, what have you done to get closer to that vision of success? How about the last 6 weeks? Yes, I did choose the number 6 because we're in chapter 6 and I thought it was witty. The point is, are you taking action? Personally, I really think that I'm pretty clever sometimes, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was pretty clever. Personally, I like to use the rule of 5, something I've talked about on the podcast. Whenever I feel myself getting stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, I stop and ask, how will this affect me in the next 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years? Then I adjust my mindset on how to approach it accordingly. Here's the truth. So much of our anxiety and stress is from the unknown. Worse, it often comes from letting other people's opinions sink so deep into us that we start doubting our own abilities. How many opportunities have you slipped by or have you let slip by simply because someone planted a seed of doubt in your mind? This isn't about blaming them. It's about looking inward. For far too long, I let other people's negativity have power over me. I let their opinions influence me so deeply that I stopped believing in myself. I stopped trusting in my ability to do the things that I wanted to do. That's on me, not them, and I've learned from it. Yep. I want to add real quick too, that fear and anxiety of not knowing and all of that shit that prevents us from moving forward gets easier the more you gain confidence in your ability to get shit done. The more confident you become in knowing I can do that instead of saying I can't do this, the more wins you have, the more you realize that you are that motherfucker because you've been put under pressure, you've lifted the weight and you've done the thing, the less likely that anxiety is going to hit you. You look at it as, well, this is just another thing that I've got to get through, and that's okay. I'm doing something right now that frankly still makes me nervous. I'm writing this book and I plan on publishing it. It's something I never thought I'd have the courage to do. I used to think no one would want to hear what I had to say, but you know what? People do. My wife and I have a podcast that's been ranked in the top 40 globally. Man, that's fucking insane. That didn't happen because I sat around doubting myself. It happened because I got out of my own way. And I am writing this book because I want to do more. I want to continue helping people change their lives. Not only did we hit the top 40 globally, like on all podcasts, we hit within the top 5 of relationship podcasts for like 6 months. Absolutely wild. Shit gave me goosebumps. If I had stayed stuck in the pity me victim mindset, I wouldn't be here today. I mean that literally. If I hadn't found the courage to face my fears and take ownership of my life, I probably wouldn't even be alive. That's not being dramatic. That's the truth. I realized my fear of failure was holding me back from even trying, but then it hit me. By not starting, I was already failing. I had nothing left to lose except a bruised ego. And honestly, that can be a good thing. But I had everything to gain, and so do you. This isn't about living a perfect life, free of fear or setbacks. It's about realizing that fear, failure, and self-doubt are part of the process. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing to take the first step, even if it scares you, and the next, and then the next. We've all heard the famous quote by Thomas Edison about his journey to inventing the light bulb. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. It's become cliche at this point, but the truth behind it is undeniable. That quote perfectly captures the grind, the perseverance, and most importantly, the belief in yourself that it takes to achieve something extraordinary. Imagine if Edison didn't have the unshakable belief in himself. Imagine if he let the laughter, the criticism, the snide remarks of others influence his dreams. What if he had quit? What if he had convinced himself that it wasn't worth the effort or that he wasn't capable? The world would have been very different, wouldn't it? Actually, I think the world would have been different, but I think that Tesla would have picked up a whole lot of other things and we still would have gotten there. It would have just been very different. The reality is the only thing Edison had that most people don't is an understanding, unrelenting belief in his own abilities. He wasn't superhuman. He didn't have some magic gift that shielded him from failure or doubt. What he did have was a combination of two critical traits, belief in himself and natural curiosity to figure things out. No matter how long it took or how many times he stumbled, what sets people like Edison apart, not talent or luck, but the willingness to keep going when most would give up. And here's the thing, that same grit, that same self-belief is something that you can cultivate. It's not reserved for the Edisons of the world. It's something that we all have the capacity to nurture if we're willing to put in the work. What does that look like? It looks like gaining knowledge, setting priorities, and taking actionable steps to implement change in your life. While you're scrolling through TikTok, playing video games, partying, drinking, or doing drugs with your friends, you could be doing something productive, something that moves the needle towards the life that you want. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should cut out all the things you enjoy. I play video games occasionally. I drink now and then, which isn't true. I used to. And I even collect bottles as a hobby. I don't do that anymore either. But the key is moderation. Those things are an exception, not the rule. Most of my time is spent on what truly matters, quality time with people I love, reading, working, coaching, and listening. I prioritize activities that will level me up as a man, a husband, a father. I'm intentional about focusing on what will push me forward because here's the truth. I'm working for freedom. The freedom to say I can do whatever the fuck I want and actually mean it. The kind of freedom that doesn't come by accident and comes from consistent effort, discipline, and sacrifice. I know where I've been. I know my flaws, my weaknesses, my shortcomings, and I know exactly what I still need to work on. I'm brutally honest with myself about where I am in life. Sometimes that honesty stings. It can scare me or make me second guess myself, but it always points me in the direction I need to go or grow. I need to grow. Let me tell you, that kind of self-audit isn't easy. Sometimes it hurts like hell. It forces me to confront guilt about where I've fallen short, where I could have done better. Other times it comes from a place of love, a deep desire to be the best version of myself for the people who depend on me. I know my family is watching. They're counting on me to lead, to show up, to set the tone. That reality is a constant reminder that I need to course correct, to self-assess, and keep putting in the work to be the man that they deserve. This isn't about perfection. It's about commitment to growth, to learning, to showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, especially when I don't feel like it. So let me ask you again, what are you going to do about it? It all starts with a simple choice. You can choose to stay where you are. You can choose to start moving forward. Take the 60-day challenge, begin there. When life throws obstacles at your path, you have a decision to make. Will you see them as a problem or as opportunities? The meaning you assign to these challenges can either propel you forward or hold you back. Choose meaning that drives you toward growth. If you have people in your life who constantly say, yeah, right, you can't do that, or who are filled with negativity, it's time to reevaluate your social circle. Start distancing yourself from those voices. You don't have to make a dramatic scene. Just take deliberate steps to create space. As you begin to level up, make positive changes in your life, you'll notice something. The people who don't align with your growth will naturally start falling by the wayside. It's a hard truth. A crab will always try to pull another crab back into the bucket. Sometimes people can't stand the idea of someone doing better than them. Your growth becomes a mirror that reflects their stagnation, their wasted time, and their misplaced blame for why they aren't happy or successful. Instead of facing their own shortcomings, they'll try to pull you back down into their level. Don't let them. But there's a brighter side to the story. As you begin to make real changes in your life, you'll start to find people who inspire you, people who are already where you want to be. These are the ones who have access, who have success, the habits and the mindset you're working toward. The best part, truly happy and successful people don't hoard their knowledge or success. They lift each other up. They recognize that success isn't a zero-sum game. Helping others doesn't diminish what they have. It multiplies it. Peaches and I have experienced this firsthand. We've done guest work on other podcasts, sometimes as guests, sometimes behind the scenes, helping others build their platforms. Their success doesn't threaten ours. If anything, it adds values to what we're doing. It builds a network, fosters collaboration, and creates a community of shared growth. That's the power in surrounding yourself with people who genuinely want to see you succeed. Speaking of community, this has been one of the most important aspects of building the To Be Better brand. I've always craved a sense of community, a place where like-minded people can connect and grow together. I looked into churches and a lot of other groups in search of that feeling. But honestly, I was disappointed. Most of the men's group I had joined left me feeling underwhelmed. They didn't meet the needs I had, nor did they inspire the kind of accountability and growth that I was looking for. Most overpromised and underdelivered. So I saw an opportunity. Instead of waiting for the right community to find me, I built it. That's why I started the Discord. With the reach that we've had on social media, I knew that there were others out there who wanted the same sense of connection and accountability. I believed we could create something that filled that void, and we did. Today, that community has grown to over 1,000 people. It includes private groups where men and women hold each other accountable, work towards personal growth, and help solve each other's problems. And sometimes it's just a place to enjoy a spirited and fun nerd debate about whatever happens to be trending. Building this community has been one of the most rewarding aspects of this journey. It's proof that when you step out of your comfort zone, embrace change, and align yourself with people who share your vision, incredible things happen, not just for you, but for everyone around you. I'm going to wrap this chapter up. I could sit here and throw all kinds of things at you. Cliche one-liners meant to inspire, famous quotes you've probably seen in other countless Facebook memes, or even a curated list of books to read, which, by the way, you can find on our website. But here's the thing. None of it matters if you don't take action. You can read every motivational quote, listen to every inspirational podcast, and fill your shelves with books on self-improvement. But if you don't apply what you've learned, it's all just noise. Knowledge isn't power. Application of the knowledge is. Without action, you will get nowhere. Without action, it gets you nowhere. It's the doing that changes your life, not the planning, not the wishing, and certainly not the wanting. The truth is, there's no secret formula or magic moment where it all clicks and suddenly becomes easy. Growth requires effort. It requires discomfort. It demands that you take a hard look at where you are, decide where you want to go, and start moving. One small intentional step after another. That's what creates real lasting change. So as this as this chapter comes to a close, I want to leave you with this. Don't just sit with the information that you've been given. Do something with it. Take one idea, one challenge, one piece of advice from this book and act on it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be big. It just has to be real. We are an hour and 13 minutes. How long is chapter 7? All right. I'm going to bang out chapter 7 and then we're going to wrap up. I try to peek at the chat every once in a while to see what you guys are talking about. And Nate said, I've had a lot of people doubt me like that. Pretty petty side, prove them wrong, and then cut them out. Joining the community definitely is the best. Ghosty said it's worth the money to pay. I love the community. Nate then said, best money I've spent to better our lives here. Gothic Momo said, I just imagine it's free because the money is nothing for the growth that we gain from being a part of it. I gave up cigarettes to pay for Patreon. Holy shit, guys. Hey, babe. Can you come here for a minute? Sorry, guys. We share our wins. So y'all are just going to have to wait for a few seconds before I get into the next chapter. Chapter 6 of my book, you're going to have to come over here. Oh, okay. We had talked about the community and Discord and like what we need and like why we created the men's and women's groups and like the whole aspect of failed other men's groups that I've been in and shit. And those are the comments that just popped up. Hang on, let me go back. Stop that.
Oh, wow.
From here. Isn't that wild?
It is wild.
My husband got me Patreon, but I gave up sodas.
Oh, wow.
It's cheaper than most therapies that don't always help. Nate, you would be surprised how many fucking times a day that we hear that. It is daily. Mm-hmm. I've been in therapy for 10 years and your podcast has done more for me in 6 months than 10 years of therapy.
I hear it from women in my women's groups.
Yeah. Tailoring Life said, this book saved my life. I implemented the 60-day challenge and it has tremendously helped me for the better. Sinzisley said, this community really has allowed me to let my guard down in regards to my relationship and friendships.
I love that.
Yeah. I just wanted to share it with you so you could see it because it's awesome.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I might have to order more paper for my women's retreat.
Okay. I'm going to read one more chapter and we can figure all that out.
Okay. It's a lot of paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
The printer out there is plugged in.
Okay. I just sat down and did the math on a vlog.
Yeah. That's all right. We're still in the positive on the women's retreat. So
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you've spent, well, we'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
We might not be, but I'm sure we are. I'm confident in that we are.
I am currently under $700 altogether.
Yeah, we're way golden.
Word.
More golden.
So can I just go ahead?
Yeah. Yeah, get what you
Yay!
need. Get what you need. Nate said I would have been paying more for therapy, and this has helped me more. Nate, you got to get into the men's group, dude. It is a very small group. It's not therapy in like what you think it is, but there are real life, I need you guys right now in the WhatsApp chat that we have. And like, so I'm going to side rail just a little bit, guys. Peaches and I do things very different. My wife is very thorough. She's very, let me hold your hand. Let me love you. Let me hug you. Let me provide all the, tell you that you're okay. Hold your hair back while you're throwing up. Like that's who she is. And you see it in her women's groups. She's so fucking thorough. Men don't need that type of attention. We need direction. You wind us up, point us in the direction that you want us to go, and let us go. And I truly believe that the most effective way for my men's group to run is we have our monthly thing where we do like a live call normally once a month where we address the things that we need, make sure that there's no questions, and then we problem solve for whatever's going on in people's lives. We do a checkup at the end of the month to see where people are at. If they need to talk, most of the time they don't. They figured their shit out. They've got their direction. They're good. And then we have a WhatsApp chat for things that are happening in real life when it happens. And there's only 10 or 11 people in there. So if you guys need something, it's there. All you got to do is get into we have two chats. We have a bullshit chat where we just get in there and talk and bullshit. Excuse me. But we also have a help and guidance chat. All of the men in there are there for long term. Like they've all been there for a long time. Like we've had people come in and fall off because they're not active, but there are people in there like Steven who has opened multiple businesses and thriving in his life because he's a part of it. We do a lot in that group for you guys. And it's not the same as the women's group. So don't go in there and think that I'm going to fucking carry you through everything. We had a couple people come in and expect that type of treatment that Peaches gives her women. And that's not what we do, but we will help you. So, all right. I don't know if this is the one that ends with the eulogy. It is. Fuck yeah. This is where I wanted to end. So good on me for doing chapter 7. Core values and non-negotiables. Your core values are the foundational beliefs and guiding principles that define who you are, what you stand for, and how you show up in the world. They are the deeply rooted ideas that influence your decisions, shape your relationships, and prioritize your actions. Think of them as the moral and ethical compass you use to navigate life. Core values are the guidelines by which you live, and they should be clearly defined. You should be able to identify 5 to 10 key principles that reflect the person you are and aspire to be. Personally, I have 7 core values that guide me. Integrity, accountability, commitment, moderation, resilience, compassion, and duty, in that order. These are non-negotiable for me, and they influence every decision that I make. Do you know yours? I don't know if I put this in the book. I can't remember if I did, but I chose 7 because I believe in numerology. I believe in the power of numbers because math doesn't lie. Math is math. And 7 is the number of God. It's the number of creation. It is a good, godly number. So like that was my reason for choosing 7 core values. They represent the very essence of your character and serve as the foundation for living a life of purpose, a living with intent. Let's look at how those values influence various aspects of who you are. Core values are a reflection of your personal identity. They define what matters most to you as an individual and shape how you how you view yourself and how you fit into the world around you. For example, if honesty is one of your core values, you will naturally prioritize truthfulness in your actions and relationships. You will respect people who are honest with you, even if it hurts your feelings. You will also find yourself having hard, truthful conversations, even if it hurts the ones that you love. This is where the skill and communication can come in. You can be honest without being nasty. That is a choice and it takes effort. They also serve a decision making framework. When faced with difficult choices, your core values act as a filter, helping you to determine what's right or wrong, what you'll stand for, and what you won't tolerate. This clarity can make decision-making less stressful because you already know what aligns with your true self. This will also speak to I don't like how this makes me feel. Your core values and non-negotiables will absolutely dictate your situation, awareness with people, not just in conversations, but in seeing their actions. Don't ignore this. Living by your core values builds consistency in your actions and words, even when inconvenient. It creates trust and strengthens your reputation. People will know what to expect from you because you remain steadfast in your principles. This will push and pull people in and out of your life. Your core values are also tied to your motivation and drive. They give purpose to your goals and ambitions, acting as the why behind what you do. For example, if growth is one of your core values, you're likely to seek opportunities for self-improvement and learning. Lastly, core values influences your connections and boundaries. They help you align with like-minded individuals who share your similar beliefs while setting clear boundaries. If you are signaling what behaviors or attitudes you won't accept in your leadership, I can't understand why I keep fucking that line up. You are signaling what behaviors or attitudes you won't accept in your relationships. This fosters healthier interactions and ensures that your relationships are rooted in mutual respect. Examples of core values. Core values will vary from person to person, but here are some common examples to consider. Integrity, being honest while adhering to strong moral principles. These are all of mine. No, it's not. I'm wrong. Respect, treating others with dignity and valuing their perspectives. Accountability, owning your actions and their consequences. Courage, facing challenges and fears with resilience. Compassion, extending kindness and empathy to others. Growth, committing to self-improvement and lifelong learning. Family, prioritizing meaningful relationships with loved ones. And freedom, valuing independence and the ability to choose your own path. Knowing your core values and living in alignment with them brings clarity, fulfillment, and confidence. On the other hand, when your actions conflict with your values, it often creates stress, dissatisfaction, and a sense of being lost. If you haven't figured out your core values, reflect on the moments in your life when you felt deeply proud, fulfilled, or upset. These experiences often highlight what truly matters to you. Once identified, your values become your guide, enabling you to live unapologetically with intent. Non-negotiables, the unwavering pillars of your character. Non-negotiables are the core principles and beliefs that you absolutely will not compromise on. They are the foundation of who you are, the behaviors, values, and standards that define your character and shape how others see and respect you. These aren't ideals. They are the commitments that you hold to no matter what, because they are essential to living the life that you believe is good. Thinking of non-negotiables as the lines you draw in the sand, the boundaries that define what you stand for and what you won't accept. They represent what's truly important to you. For example, maybe your integrity is non-negotiable, meaning no matter the situation, you'll always choose to be honest and stick to your principles. Living by your non-negotiable shows consistency in your actions and reinforces who you are at your core, even when it's tough. To identify your non-negotiables, start by reflecting on what truly matters to you, considering the following questions. What are the principles I want to guide my life? What am I unwilling to compromise on no matter what the situation? How do I want others to perceive me? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? Once you have clarity on these questions, write them down, revisit them often, and make sure that your actions align with them. Understanding your core values and non-negotiable gives you direction and purpose. Without them, it's easy to drift through life, bending to the will of others and lacking a firm foundation. Knowing what you stand for helps you resist external pressures and stay true to yourself. Real quick, I also would like to point on the fact that these are going to change throughout your life. Your core values and your non-negotiables are going to shift as you age, as you experience life, as you mature, as your social circle changes. All of that shit is going to have a whole lot of change, right? So core values and non-negotiables are not just concepts. They are the building blocks of your character. They influence your decisions, relationships, and success. When you lack clarity about these principles, you risk being aimless, inconsistent, and easily swayed by others. But when you know your values and stick to your non-negotiables, you build confidence, fostering meaningful relationships, and create a life of purpose. Taking the time to define your core values and non-negotiables is a crucial step in becoming the person you aspire to be. It's not just about knowing what you stand for, it's about living it every day. By aligning your actions with these principles, you create a solid foundation for growth, success, and fulfillment. I have to look to see how much of this is left because we're going to get into the eulogy talk, and I would like to really, I want to make sure that that's not just skimmed over. Okay. That's where it ends. The man you want to be starts with the values you live by today. Make them count. Now that I've laid all that out, I feel like I just gave a clumsy school lesson. I tried my best to piece it all together. I want to give you another challenge, a different kind of challenge, one that's a little unconventional and yes, a bit uncomfortable. This is something that I had every man in my men's group do when we started the men's group. And at least once a year, I ask people if they did it, just in case there are people in the men's group who have not actually done this yet. And now that I'm actually reading this, I'm going to have to go back and do it again with core values and non-negotiables because I think there are new men in the group that have not figured it out. I challenge all of you, men and women, to do this. And don't fucking skimp on this challenge because I promise you, when you actually sit down and do this, it will change your life. Write your own eulogy. I know it sounds morbid. Thinking about your own death isn't exactly a fun exercise, but here's the truth. None of us are getting out of this alive. So what do you want people to say about you when your time comes? Picture your loved ones standing there, delivering a tearful goodbye, reflecting on your life. What do you want them to say about the person that you were, the impact you had, and the legacy that you left behind? Now, take it a step further. Imagine you died tomorrow. What would actually be said about you? Based on the life that you've lived up to this point. Be honest. Not what you wish people would say, but what you believe that they would say. Would you be proud of the picture they'd paint? Or would it feel something like something's missing? Like there are pieces of your story that haven't been written yet. Once you've done that, write a second version. This time, imagine it's 10 years from now. Who do you want to be by then? What do you hope people would say about you after another decade of living with intent and striving to grow? Then go further and write a third version 30 years from now. By then, who will you have become? What kind of impact did you have on those that you loved in life? For most of us, this first eulogy isn't going to feel great. It's uncomfortable because it forces us to confront the reality of where we are, not where we want to be. Maybe it's filled with regrets, unfinished goals, or I wish I had's and what ifs. That's okay if it stings a little. That's the point. It's meant to shine a light on the gap between the life you're living and the life you want to live. But here's where the power of this exercise comes in. When you write those future eulogies, the ones for 10 and 30 years down the road, you're not just imagining a future version of yourself. You are creating a version of the person that you want to become. You're defining the values, actions, and priorities that will shape the legacy that you leave behind. And in doing so, you're gaining clarity about the life that you want to start building now. If you're already living the life that you're proud of, you can write a eulogy today that reflects that, then you're a better person than I am because I'm not there yet. I still have work to do. There are pieces of my story I haven't written, things I need to change, and goals that I need to reach. I'm still very flawed, and I am still a very flawed and broken man. I know, you know what though? That's okay. Acknowledging that is part of the process. This exercise isn't about confronting mortality. It's about discovering what really matters to you. It's about identifying your core values and defining the kind of life that you want to live. It's a challenge to step into the person that you know you're capable of being, starting right now. So take the time to do this. Be honest with yourself. It might be one of the most important things that you ever write. So now that you've identified the man or woman that you want to become, the next step is figuring out how to implement those values into your daily life. This is where the real work begins. You're likely carrying a lot of bad habits, learned behaviors, and emotional triggers that need to be unlearned. These patterns often operate on autopilot. They are subconscious reactions that you've repeated so many times that they feel ingrained. Changing them requires intentionality, accountability, and persistence. By nature, I am a defensive person. I don't handle disrespectful situations well, and what I perceived as disrespect has often been met with emotional reactions. Let me be honest, those reactions have never led to positive outcomes, not once. What they have done is start unnecessary fights, hurt people I care about, and even ruined relationships over time. This is one of the areas that I've had to work on most in my life. When I feel disrespected, I've learned that I have a choice. I can respond or I can react. Responding means thinking, pausing, thinking, and addressing the situation calmly with intent. Reacting, on the other hand, is emotional and impulsive, and it usually just makes things worse. I don't always get it right. There are still moments when I slip up and react instead of respond. The key is what happens next. As soon as I realize what I've done, I make it a point to stop, take accountability for my behavior, apologize, and reframe the conversation. This might sound straightforward, but let me tell you, it's not easy. Owning up to your actions in the heat of the moment, especially when you feel like you've been wronged, takes an incredible amount of emotional control and humility. Let's not forget the other side of the equation. There's another person involved. Someone you believe is being disrespectful or worse, acting with malicious intent. That makes it even harder to stay composed and accountable. It's much easier to justify your emotional reaction when you feel attacked. Just because it's easier doesn't mean that it's right. Responding with intention rather than reacting with emotion is a skill that requires practice, patience, and self-awareness. If you want to implement your core values into your daily life, you'll need to start catching yourself in these moments. Notice your triggers, pay attention to the habits and behaviors that don't align with the man you want to be. And when you slip up, you will take accountability, course correct, and keep moving forward. Growth isn't about never making mistakes. It's about learning from them and choosing better the next time. This process isn't fast or easy. It's uncomfortable. It's humbling, and it requires you to confront the parts of yourself that you might not want to face. If you're serious about becoming the man or woman you aspire to be, this is where the work happens in the day-to-day decisions, the small but meaningful changes, and that commitment to live in alignment with your values, even when it's hard. When I sat down to write my first eulogy, reflecting on where I was in life at the time, it was a brutally honest wake-up call. I realized that the things that I wanted people to say about me when I was gone, the way I wanted to be remembered, simply couldn't be said. Maybe a handful of people might have believed those things, but was that enough? If it wasn't true across the board, could I really call it legacy? Could I really call it the legacy I wanted? That exercise forced me to confront the gap between the male I was and the man I wanted to be, and it sparked a profound change in both my character and how I chose to live my life. I stopped dwelling on the past. I stopped blaming others for my shortcomings. I started taking real accountability for my actions and my choices. I came to understand that when my life comes to an end, no one will sit around talking about the things that others did to me. That's not the story people will tell. My kids, my grandkids, they won't remember who wronged me. Furthermore, why would I want to be remembered for what others did to me? To be remembered as a victim? To be seen as a man so lacking in control over his own life that the actions or perceived thoughts of others dictated my emotions and reactions? That's not the legacy that I want to leave behind. Bruh. Why would I want to be remembered for what others did to me? To be remembered as a victim? To be seen as a man so lacking in control over his own life that the actions or perceived slights of others dictated my emotions and reactions? That's not legacy. To be remembered that way would mean giving away my power, letting others' behavior define not just my days, but my life as a whole. It would mean allowing myself to be controlled by people who likely didn't care about the impact that they had on me, or worse, who intentionally sought to undermine me. Why would I choose to let those moments define me when I have the ability to, when I have the power to choose differently? Instead, I want to be remembered for how I rose above those situations, for how I maintained composure, integrity, and strength, even in the face of adversity. I want people to speak of me as someone who had control over his own life, who responded with wisdom instead of reacting with emotion, and who didn't let the negativity of others overshadow his character. That's the kind of man I strive to be. Not one who's defined by what was done to him, but one who's remembered for how he lived despite it. They'll remember how I carried myself, the decisions I've made, the way that I treated others. They'll either speak about me with love and respect, or they won't, and that's entirely on me and the choices that I make moving forward. This realization was a game changer. It made taking accountability in the moment, even during conflict, much easier to accept. It shifted my perspective on what it means to tolerate disrespect or let something go unchecked. I began to see those moments differently, not as losses or signs of weakness, but as opportunities to control my narrative. I lost my spot because my watch went off. I began to see those moments differently, not as losses or signs of weakness, but as opportunities to control my narrative, to shape how I will be remembered. It also forced me to take a long, hard look at my ego and recognize how often it got in the way of the bigger picture. My story isn't defined by single moments of conflict or perceived disrespect. It's told as a whole, a collection of choices, actions, and relationships that together form my legacy. Unless there's an extreme defining moment that becomes my legacy, and let's hope it's a good one, people will remember me for the life that I lived, not just the small slights or moments of anger that I let consume me. I just made a really long note here that I'll put at the end of this chapter. I don't know why I put that there. I could have just put it at the end of the chapter. Maybe because it's relative to that paragraph. I don't remember. That realization freed me from the weight of needing to win every moment or prove my worth. Needing to win every moment or prove my worth. That realization freed me from the weight of needing to win every moment or prove my worth in ways that don't matter in the long run. Struggled with that one. Need to use commas, buddy. It allowed me to focus on the bigger picture, on living a life that reflects the values of principles that I want to leave behind. It's not always easy, but keeping the end in mind makes the hard choices in the moment feel a lot more meaningful. Every choice, every interaction, every decision is a chance to add to the story I'll leave behind, and I want to make it one worth telling. Writing my own eulogy was a turning point in my life. I included it in this chapter because it was through that exercise that I was able to establish my core values. It started as a challenge from someone else, funny enough. I can't even remember who presented the idea to me. What I do remember is the profound effect that it had on me. It forced me to confront who I was, who I wanted to be, and the gap in between. You never know where these golden nuggets of wisdom will come from, but they are out there, often hidden in plain sight. Whether it's a conversation, a book, a random thought, or even a challenge like this, the lessons that can change your life are always around you. The key is to pay attention. Life is full of moments that can spark growth, but you have to be willing to see them and, more importantly, act on them. Do not be afraid of change or to change. Like I said earlier, don't miss the opportunities when they present themselves. Sometimes it's the small, seemingly insignificant things, a piece of advice, an uncomfortable question, or a fleeting moment of clarity that may have the potential to make the biggest difference. Writing that eulogy was one of those moments for me. It gave me the clarity I needed to define my values and start making changes. And it reminded me of the power of paying attention to the lessons that life is trying to teach us every day. This is the note I was going to insert above. As I write this, I can't help but to pause and reflect on my marriage. The fact I have a successful, happy, and fulfilling relationship with every... did I say that I was going to leave my eulogy in here? I don't think I put I did not put my eulogy in this book. This is the note I was going to insert above. As I write this, I can't help but pause to reflect on my marriage. The fact that I have a successful, happy, and fulfilling relationship with my wife is a direct result of the work I started doing because of everything that I've shared here. That journey paved the path necessary for us to build what we have today. If I had met Peaches at any other time in my life before I had committed to the changes I needed to make, there is no way I would have been the man I needed to be to make it work with her. She has said the same about her own growth journey. It is a testament to the power of personal transformation and the willingness to do the hard work to become the person you need to be. It also speaks to the power of having the right person in your life, but that's a conversation for another time. I'd also be remiss to not acknowledge the part of my legacy will undoubtedly be the To Be Better podcast and the work that Peaches and I have done together. Writing my eulogy and gaining the insights I did at the time set the stage for what has become my life's work. It was the wake-up call I needed to start taking accountability, to focus on growth and to align my actions with my values. Those steps didn't just change my life, they laid the foundation for the lives that we've been able to touch and the people we've mentored and the marriages that we've saved. That is our legacy. It's not just about the conversations we've had on a podcast or the content that we've shared. It's about the impact that we have made. Real, tangible ways that we have helped people navigate their own journeys, heal their relationships, and create better lives for themselves. None of this would have been possible if I hadn't faced my shortcomings and made the decision to change. The work we've done together is something I will always be proud of. It is a reminder that the legacy that you leave is built by the choices that you make every single day. Your story is still being written. Don't squander this life. And that's where I'm going to end this episode. I'm going to dog-ear the shit out of this page. Chapter 8. I don't even know how many chapters. I think there's only 10 in this book. So I'll end up finishing this book tomorrow when I sit down to read it again. Check the comments for a minute, see what's going on in the comments. I am grateful that the challenge was mentioned and used in this book as well. I think I'm going to give the PDF to these books to my men's group as well, so that the guys that are in the men's group can reference chapter 7 when writing their non-negotiables and their core values. Maybe that'll help a little bit. I remember reading this and having to take a bit to go through all the bullshit I spun in my head, what would be said about me and what I wanted to have massive deficits. On the eulogy, real quick, Taylor and Life said, I did my eulogies and my life is completely different now. I am finally in control of my life. Thank you, Chris. Also extremely helpful to be aware of my core values and having them in my pocket. I love that. On the eulogy thing, the hard thing about writing your eulogy is that your ego is going to get involved and it's going to try to trick you into writing what you think people will say. And you will flavor it with all the little sprinkles of I'm this and I'm that. And it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Think about the people that you have done dirty. Think about the people that you have hurt. Think about all of the lives that you have touched. How many of them were touched in a negative manner versus a positive one? And when you weigh that and you think about what's really going to be said at your funeral, the people who hate you aren't going to show up at your funeral. They're going to be grateful that you're not here anymore. And that's a fucked up thing to think about, but that's the reality of the life that we live in. I know for a fact that if I was to die tomorrow, there are a lot of people who would happy dance over the fact that I'm not here anymore, because those people knew a version of me that doesn't exist. They knew a time that I lived in my life where I was doing a lot of really foul shit. And when I weigh what those people would say about me at that point in my life versus the people in my life when I wrote my eulogy, that group over here was so much bigger than the group over here. Now, I can honestly say, because of what we've done with the podcast, the group of positivity far outweighs the negative. There will still be some negativity and there will still be people dancing a jig at my death. Fuck them. I know that I'm not where I want to be yet. I know that I have a whole lot of work to go. I know that our legacy is going to be real and it's going to be tangible. And right now, if I was to die, this is just going to be a podcast legacy. Where I think we're going in the next 10 to 15 years, it's going to be so much more than that. We started doing these couples retreats. And when I tell you the fucking growth that we saw at the couples retreat in North Carolina that just passed, I know with certainty, zero doubt in my heart and soul that the lives that were there Sunday night are fundamentally changed and will never go back to the way that they were. They may have relapses that are slips and moments of time, but I think what they went through is going to change them for the rest of their lives. Now, as we start integrating things like, I can't call it holotropic breath work legally because that's trademarked, but as we start connective conscious breathing exercises into these seminars, and people have DMT released naturally in their brain because your brain has DMT in it, and certain breath exercises can release them, we will get a different outcome of these retreats. As plant medicine evolves and we are no longer regulated as heavily as we are, or if Peaches and I can go to Colorado and hold seminars where people go into the medicine where we guide them, I believe that those lives will be fundamentally changed. I believe that we have so much going on. I believe that we will eventually end up with land where we can hold our own retreats, and they'll have tiny homes on them. And I had an epiphany the other day that with Troy and all the land and tiny homes that he has, there is a very real possibility in the beginning of all of this, before we have our land, that we might be able to rent his space, which will help what he's doing. It will allow me to connect with Troy on a deeper level, because I fucking love him and his wife. They're phenomenal people. And I think that might be the steps that get us there before we get to our own land. I really think that life is changing for us, guys. We are in a weird limbo right now, and we are really on a level of like, oh man, what's next? Like, God, what do you got for us next? Like, you've done so much. You've given so much. What's next? What are we doing? Like, you've wound us up and pointed us in so many directions. Like, I don't know where to go next, but we're taking the steps where we can, and we're trying to do the thing. And like, it's fucking happening, guys. We're doing the thing. So, I will look at what I can find online after this live. It feels important. I don't know what that statement was to. Sarah said, I would love to go to a retreat, but my husband would never. That's okay. You can go without him. I don't know what kind of retreat you were speaking of, because I just talk so much in the chats behind, but, maybe you don't need that. I will say, speaking on plant medicines, there's a lot of risk to one person going into the medicine in a marriage and the other not, because the growth that happens on the other side of it is very life-changing. And who you become after that experience, the people in your life may not be able to keep up. They might not be able to understand. There's a lot that goes into that. So I'm done, guys. This was a 2-hour episode. I'm going to come back tomorrow some point in the morning. Well, I'll probably be in the evening after the kids go to bed tomorrow night, because we get the kids this week. So maybe I'll come back later today and knock out the other half of the book. I don't know. As of right now, I'm tired of sitting here talking. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everybody in the Patreon community that's been here. If you guys found anything in this book of value, leave a comment on the YouTube channel when I post this publicly. If you guys are listening to this publicly, please go back and comment. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want access to the men and women's group that we do, it's through our Patreon community. With that being said, guys, we love you, and we'll see you guys on the next one.